Okay, ah. Okay. Wow, not bad. Yeah, okay, we are live already, ah. Yeah, slowly, but I haven't shown anything yet. Let's see. Yeah, I go Facebook. Yeah. Okay, ah. Okay, we just go lah. Never mind. Okay, I'll just show the video first.
Go next. Come on, let's go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Forest School Singapore is a education pedagogy, a program that we do whereby we bring children into the woods, into natural environments and all that, and we actually let them get connected with nature. And it's a very child-led approach, so it's very unstructured. I think child-led approach allows children to really decide what they want to do, and in that process, right, they really find out a lot about themselves. And from there, in future, they'll be able to decide about their life, the choices they make in life, and not just follow without thinking. Through the falling, stepping, sometimes slipping down and all that, they learn how to manage their own safety. And through allowing them to decide when they are ready to do certain things, a lot of kids actually have more safety awareness.
Well, initially, as a parent, of course, you get worried, like you get cuts and bruises here and there. But I learned to let go and trust that the nature itself is just a playground. Occasionally, he has small bumps here and there, little cuts here and there, but it's part of growing up.
You did who started it. I didn't start it. I think everybody won.
She's homeschooled and an only child, so we thought it would be good for her to be part of our larger community and be with other kids. We wanted her to learn how it is to get along and cooperate and have fun at the same time and be a kid.
I mean, in the past, we used to stay in kampongs and all that. People are getting a little more disconnected, and that's where I've seen children who are more anxiety, stress starting to sum up. We hope that the trails will not be added with too much concrete, leave it more muddy and more natural, because that's how the space actually is welcoming. Army, right? You thinking of army, right? Space.
I know they want to make it safer and, friendlier, but I'm hoping that they retain the natural elements and not tear it down completely, because what's a forest when it's not really a forest but a manicured garden?
Okay, Forest School on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, get off.
I'm hoping that they retain natural elements and not tear it down because what's a forest is not really a forest, but a manicured garden.
Okay, Forest School on 3.
Give me a moment now. Let me just get us both in.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, give me a moment. All right, so that was a bit of introduction about Forest School Singapore. So today I will have a very special guest, Darren Quite will be with us from Forest School. Okay, so as you all know that today is the first day of Ramadan, so I would like to wish all Muslims out there a very good fasting month and Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Okay, yeah. So I think for this month, this tonight will be the last night we were having our live on Friday night. So starting next month, we'll be doing on Sundays at 3 p.m. instead, right? So if we are ready, let us just invite Darren into the to share with us, shall we? Okay, Darren, are you ready? Okay, hey Darren. Hello, hello. Yeah, let me see how can I show myself with you together. Okay. Together with oops. Too many. With you in. Okay, let's focus. Coming with you. Okay, never mind. Darren, you just share a bit first as I'm doing the stream. Maybe you would like to share a bit about your background and but anyway, thanks for being here with us today. Yeah. Okay. Can you share with us a bit about what you do and your background and maybe to the viewers here? Can I? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Darren. I'm the founder of Forest School Singapore. As you have seen in the video that I requested previously, we bring children out there to the woods, the forest, the park area, to experience forest school in terms of having children connect with nature as well as connect with themselves and the community. So this is by and large what most of what we are doing. You can check out more information about what specifically that our program are in Forest School in our forestschoolsingapore.com website, and you can check that out. Yeah. So a bit about myself. I met Aifa actually when I was 17,
17.
19, around there.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, so I met Aifa then because I was a trainee. She was my instructor, kind of like my boss lah, right? I still remember Jack. So they were my kind of trainers, my boss, my mentor, and that was how I met Aifa. And so I started on in training and development as well as education at a very early age. 17, 18, I started line of education. And gradually over the years, I've progressed to the stage where in my bio you could read that I'm actually previously a head of department for sports in a coaching. As well as I spent some time understudying a occupational therapist for regards to special needs and different therapy methods. So I would not say that I'm a certified therapist, a certified educator, but I'll put it this way. I think education is a line where through the experience and through your teachers, which is our participant, a lot of time that's where our learning journey happens and how we actually picked up the different skills and techniques. It's in context with our participant as well as our community. So my final kind of my most recent step was to take up the role of a forest school leader, and I went to UK to learn it in a course, as well as subsequently learning it from a Japanese sensei. So in my learning with the Japanese sensei, it was full-on apprenticeship. There was no paper, no documentation about what you do, but it was a full-on experiential learning to really understand the essence of what forest school means. So And I value that kind of education and training a lot, which is why till date, I mean, Aifa herself, Michelle, and still is my mentor in a lot of ways. And that's what I feel the learning is.
Mm.
Unlike a degree where you end at 4 years, I think learning actually goes beyond that. So anyway, less about myself, more about the topic. So I believe Aifa has invited myself here today to share about a little bit about how parents can support and engage our children during the COVID-19 situation.
Yes, that's right.
So Aifa, you want me to continue?
Yeah, can. So we will talk about the 3 tips that you shared, that you'll be sharing with us today. Okay. Maybe let's go with the first one. Like with regards to the tips. So because I feel that nowadays, most of us are at home, right? Yeah, we are mostly at home, and I think parents also, they will need some tips and maybe some ideas of how we can engage them at home. Right, and what do you think about how has it been affecting COVID? This COVID has affected you yourself before you start to share. Yeah, how do you think it has affected you in a way?
I think this will be a bit of a personal and
Yeah.
I think the COVID-19 started us in after Chinese New Year.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of started. So during that period of time, we actually have to create contingency plans to face up with possibility of cancellation, as well as stoppages. So thankfully, we had previous experience of something like this in terms of, and I think in the outdoor industry or outdoor people would understand that as well. So in terms of haze, we had close to a point of stoppages, so we had contingency in place. But this time around, COVID-19 was way different in the sense that the impact is global.
Mm-hmm.
So the effect that the length of the effect is actually longer. So in the whole process, we have to do a lot of adjustment to our contingency. So for myself, in terms of forest school, we did cancel the class at this, I think before the circuit breaker. That there was a need with all the social distancing as well as a group size handling. We had to kind of shorten it, and in the end, we decided let's just close the classes for the safety of everybody and start to make arrangement for the future. So I think we were able to kind of endure the recent measure that has been introduced. And moving ahead, we hope to be able to help and support other communities and businesses as well to maintain and endure during this period of time as well. So yeah, that's for us. Personally, for myself, as a small person, it's really tough to be staying at home. The only time I go out right now is like most people, most of you will be doing buying food and exercising maximum in the so yeah, but I mean I have a dire need for sunlight and dire need to feel the wind through my skin. So I do have a need for that. So but I do it with precaution right now as well. But yeah, it is quite rough. So I spend a lot of time now actually at home doing more content creation, writing, and just kind of try to be at home most of the time. I spend a lot of time playing computer games too. Interestingly. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Darren.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go to the topic here, as in for this evening. Alright. So we have a few people who actually shared here. Zahra says Ramadan Karim to all viewers. Okay. Hi, Ramadan Karim, Kak Liha. So Saliha also used to be an outdoor educator. She's now working with Kids Amaze. I think maybe this is also a very good sharing where she can get some knowledge as well regarding how to handle children. I think Kids Amaze Playground, right? I think that she herself still needs to conduct training for or even camps for Kids Amaze. And we have Lynette. Lynette says, "Is this live?" Yes, Lynette, this is live. Yes, we are live now on Facebook. Yes. Okay. Yes, Derek, we can continue from where we left off.
So I'll kind of start off. For a start, I think Today I'll be sharing a little bit on the three prongs that you can see on the whiteboard behind me. So I will start off with the easier component, which all of us, including the adults, will be participating in play. So I think at this moment of time, there's so much time at home, so much time with your families as well, that a lot of play will be happening. So in the notion of play, a lot of time people imagine, okay, in our generation and our current context of society, or we have the concept that play lies in a little bit more structure, right? But what I'm trying to bring you guys, all of you here in the video to direct you all towards is the idea of play in terms of unstructured. Meaning, I give you an example. Structured play, football is a structured form of play, right? Um, a drawing is a structured form of play as well. When it comes to being instructed or what can we draw, all that is structured. Once you have instruction and design in place, usually is a form of structured play. Now, but unstructured play is when this happens. So there are three things that I would like to share with you in terms of this element of play, which is choice, observation, and being minimalistic. So, regards to choice, I think at the end of the day, we want to experience a depth of connection with that moment of play. Okay, so there's a moment of play that we want to connect with in depth. So when it comes to the choice of play, for our young children especially, a lot of time they have their own choices. They know what they want to do. So many times they are when you leave them on their own, they kind of can figure out what they want to do, how they're gonna do it, and why they want to do it. Right? But for children who are so used to taking instructions, who are so used to be given orders, and so used to not be given free, almost unstructured time of play, looking for you. You're looking to the adult to say, I'm bored. Can you help me? I'm bored. What can I do? What is next? What is for lunch? What is for dinner? They will start to look and rely on sources that they will use to for play and for the unstructuredness, for choice. So they have lost the ability, partially, of making choices that nobody actually gave to them. So think about this in the long run, right? Think about this in the long run. Imagine you are 18 years old, 20 years old, 22 years old, right? As a young chap, nobody is going to give you instruction anymore about how you're going to do your life. They're going to advise you, but you got to make your own choice. So if our kids learn through play to make choices at a young age, what about when they're older? Will they be able to make better choices? That's something for us to think about, right? So choice. Second element about play would be observation. So the adult, which is you, myself, I don't believe there's any kids now watching. Most of us are adults, right? So a lot of time adults, we want to we feel the need to be involved in the play. We feel the need to be engaged in the play, physically, mentally. There are some element of guilt, sense of the need to be part of the moment. But what we realize is when we are able to step back and observe, you can actually see more magical moments happening with our kids, as well as learning when you can actually go in to support the play. Now, if you are involved in the play, half the time you will be playing as well, right? So you can't really be stepping back from a third person point of view and seeing where you can come in to support the player or where you can just kind of step away and let your child do their own thing, and give them the sense of independence and empowerment. So, but when we are able to step back and observe, we give them a lot of the empowerment as well as support. So stepping back is not necessary just kind of letting go and ignoring and doing your own thing. It's actually stepping back, giving a bit of space at the corner of your eye, at the corner of at a point of your hearing, you do actually observe, you picked up the sounds and the visual of your child in action. That kind of form of observation is very powerful. Right, so that is something we do often as well in forest school with our children. And you can ask all of them, they will tell you the same thing, that they are given a lot of freedom. And that is what they yearn for in our sessions. So I believe many children do yearn for that feeling of freedom, of choice, freedom of independence and empowerment in their play as well. All right. So last but not least, I think is the most relevant in our current COVID-19 context, minimalistic. I think we have more or less closed down most of the shops that is available in Singapore. I know bubble tea is gone, the barber is gone, has closed. So with all the closure, we do see the I guess everybody do see the need to be minimalistic. So in our children's play as well, I think having them not have a lot of items, but make do with what they have at home will actually be more, the experience will be more fulfilling, because you're actually creating the play through choices, through uh, using resources that you have, which is very relevant to their life in future, because you never know what's going to be turning out after or in future, in 20, 30 years, 100 years later. So, but if you are able to live minimalistically, I believe when there are more resources, it wouldn't be as difficult, right? So I feel the need for minimalistic play do come in as well. So, and I think this is pretty easy in the sense you don't bring out all the bunch of toys, you leave 2 toys instead of 10 toys, and you'll see how the child plays with the toys, or use the materials around the toys to make something. So these are elements of play which I feel parents could adopt them to engage your children and support them during the COVID-19 situation. Yeah. So I hope that kind of give a bit of insight on the play element. Yeah. Okay. So moving on. I think this will be a bit more, how do I put it? A little bit more structured, a little bit more towards the relationship between the parent and the child at home when it comes to their interaction of work. Alright. So we have heard of all the stories and all the events and incidences of boundary setting that parents have issue with their kids. In terms of, who the parents is working, the child needs to give the parents time to work, or likewise the child is working, child is home-based learning, and the parents need to give the child time as well. So the whole dynamic of the interaction can be very confusing, and can be at times almost able to spark a level of frustration, right, at home. So what I would kind of put across this time in terms of support and engagement for the parents is boundary setting in some of these 3 elements. I think when it comes to setting boundaries for our children at home, or even in school for teachers, we all learn that as well, is you got to be very clear with what the boundaries is. All right. I like to always use myself as an example. So when it comes to boundaries, I love to break boundaries. So anybody can set me 10 boundaries. I will ask them the question of the 11th boundary, whether is it there or not. So imagine a child who is at home with you. You have set in 5 boundaries, vaguely set on 5 boundaries, and that 5 boundaries is not clear about, and it's not clearly enforced or promised. So at some point there will be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which the child and even ourselves will start to create. So I think when it comes to boundary setting, it has to be really, really clear. Example, what time can the child talk to you in the midst of your work? So let's say I have my child and I'm about to start working. I will start working from 9 to 12. So between 9 to 12, I will expect my child, unless regards to safety, meaning injury that requires me to bring out a first aid kit to help him or her, I will expect him or her to settle himself or herself um, within the 3 hour time frame, 9 to 12. All right. So there's a difference between, okay, 9 to 12, mommy, daddy is working. I need you to do your own thing. Don't look for me unless it's important. See now, what is important to you and to him, right? What is important? So the difference lies in setting that clarity. So to me, the importance is if it requires me to bring out the first aid kit, it is very, very important. And I do need to stop my work to attend to it. But for the child, that may be important, yes, but there may be other elements in his or her view that is important. So this is where you come to the point of listening. In listening, after setting your boundaries, you have to kind of ask the child back, is that agreeable? Is there any other thing that you wish to come in to interrupt me in case of importance, in terms of importance? So we can ask that to our child and listen what exactly him or her has about the boundary set. All right. So when you listen and the child gets to voice his or her view, it is a very powerful moment, because after that, both parties will, and hopefully the adults will, comply with their boundaries during the whole period of time that they're interacting in that context. Yeah. So I think clarity in terms of the boundaries is very, very important. And adding to that with the listening component will enforce that boundaries even further between both parties. All right. And last but not least, it will be trust. Now, when we do not trust our children, we set them instructions. We're not setting a discussion. We're not setting a boundaries that is respected. We're just setting an instruction. We're setting a gate, a fence to the interaction that we have with them, right? But when we trust them to understand what we are talking about, there is a level of discussion, and therefore the relationship will be clearer, much clearer, and the dynamic of that interaction will be much, much, much clearer. All right. So I think when it comes to trust, I'll give you an example. So my own experience with regard to children boundary setting in terms of trust was in one of my camps that I did with a group of children. It was supposed to be a K2 camp. We invited a group of primary school kids between the age of 7 to 9 to the camp. So in the camp, the older kids obviously took up leadership roles, right? But in that camp, what was unique was when the adult facilitator, at the end of the day during the camp, when we had our debrief as adults, we invited the leaders, the primary school kids leaders, to sit together with us. Now, what we did was kind of accidental, but the feedback was amazing. So what we did was we had tables and chairs, and everybody sat on the tables and chairs. Right? So I sat around the table, right? On the chairs, sorry. Sat around the tables on the chairs. The kids get to sit around the table together with the adults at the same level. After the meeting debrief, a lot of the leaders, student leaders, felt so empowered. They felt like they were on the same level as the adults facilitator. They felt trusted to deliver their role as well. And subsequently during the camp, they did an amazing job. Such that I guess at the end of the camp, during one of our debrief sharing, everybody kind of dropped our tears, and there was a little crying and a lot of emotions and feeling, because there was this connection there. So I felt that in trusting our children, we give them a level of emotional connection as well that is very, very valuable for them for the rest of their life. Right? So that said, I will go down to the last point before we kind of go on the discussion. My last point will be the more tougher component, which is formal learning in COVID-19 situation. I think there's a lot of people who are right now, a lot of children, home-based learning. Parents are supporting the home-based learning. Give me a minute. So I think regards to formal learning, now as parents, we have to be very reasonable with ourselves and our children, as well as the teachers, in terms of formal learning at home. Now, we do learn a lot at home through play, through your house chores, through the relationship with our family members, through the relationship with our neighbors and our community. There is huge amount of learning there. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to formal learning, academical structure, delivery of the learning, I think one of the important thing that we need to, as parents, be able to support and engage our children is that we need to be genuine. Now, I'm not a how do I put it? I'm not a English language passionate individual. All right. So if you ask me to to participate with my children in terms of the beauty of English language, I may not be that interested. All right. But if you ask me to question my kid about the mathematic formula, I will be very excited. I will be even very cheeky and naughty about how I'm going to question them and challenge them to it. So there's a level of engagement is very strong when you're genuine. But if we are not that interested, but because it's the agenda is to get them to learn it, therefore we engage them with it. I think the kid will have ourselves and the kid as well will have a lot of friction, right? Because when we're not genuine, that excitement, the energy is not there. We can't really support them very well. Now, when I say genuine, I also mean you can actually talk to your child genuinely that daddy or mommy, English is not very good. My English is not very good. And I'm not very interested in it as well. I can try to help you and explore together with you, but I'm definitely not the first person in terms of the expert in terms of handling this particular topic, right? So I think being very honest, being very genuine, our children don't look down on us. They will also not lose interest in that subject, but they will respect an individual for the ability to share your vulnerability. So I think being genuine will support our child in their formal learning because there will be some subject or some topic passionate about, burning passion about, and from that it can trickle to the others. So being genuine in your interaction will help your child a lot. All right, in their home-based learning. So don't feel guilty or feel bad if there's some things that you're really not interested about and you don't wish to help your child with it. Tell them honestly, tell them genuinely, and tell them that if they really need somebody to come along with them in the journey, then you can go with them, but go with them at the same level. All right, go with them at the same level that you don't know, and you're exploring with them. You can be wrong. So with that genuineness, I'd like to bring you to the point of accuracy. So when it comes to supporting formal learning for our children, we don't have to be correct all the time. So they don't have to be correct all the time. So both of us doesn't have to be correct all the time. Because in terms of knowledge changes when there are new findings. All right. So in terms of accuracy, when we're genuine, we don't know about things. Therefore, we don't have to be accurate about the knowledge, about the facts, and we can explore the knowledge together with our children. So these two aspects goes hand in hand, and then that's where you lead to in between where your process is your facilitation. My favorite facilitation tool is always ask the question back to the child. So I give you a very good example from this setting. So in forest school, kids would like to come to me and ask Coach Darren, what is this plant, right? So most of the time, I do not know. I may be doing forest school for 5 years, but there are thousands and millions of plants and species and cousins and relatives of plants all around the world, or even in Singapore, that is tough to spot them unless you really, really do a in-depth study. And even though you know some of them, your names may be wrong, right? Scientific answer. Okay, so the kids will ask me, what is this plant? I would like to ask my child back. I'll give a better example. Let's say this is my kid, right? Okay, so this is my child. So the child asks, Coach Darren, what is this? I'll answer the job boy. What do you think it is? Most of the kids will say, I don't know. Then I will say, well, make a guess. What does it look like? What color? Then I will say, white. How about its shape? Straight up, straight, white. Is there any leaves? No leaves. So you start to facilitate the child observation and experience of it, right? Then over the time, then you make a guess. What would you name it? Straight white stick. Well, based on the observation, he's not wrong. And based on the answers later on when you go find out across the world or on Google simply, you may realize that many of the plants named are actually exact description of the plant. So, in terms of the facilitation, this is about the plants and in the forest. But in terms of facilitation, when you're at home, regards to anything, you can always ask the question back, what do you think it is? And when the child says don't know, you can ask the child, make a guess. There's no right or wrong. And when the child answers, gives you an answer, well, even if on the technical term is wrong, you can always say, maybe. Why not? You can find out more about it. Let's ask brother Google. Let's ask a friend. Let's ask teachers. Let's ask more people what exactly it is. So then you start to explore with them the whole learning process. All right. So these are a few points I have for you regards to engagement and support with for your children during the COVID-19 situation. I hope that is helpful for most of you out there. So right now, I would pass the moment to Aifa.
Really with Darren around for the last for his show and tell. Okay, the ruler got sticker. Okay. Thank you, Darren. That was very insightful sharing. Okay, if you have any comments or any questions, do post them in the comment box. So then Darren actually answer the questions if you have any. Okay. Then I really like the part when you mentioned about the vulnerability as a parent to the child. Because I think for me, I do that a lot with my kids actually. Yeah, sometimes even really sharing with them how I'm feeling for the day, and even like, and they can feel it, they can really feel it. Yeah. Because I find that sometimes parents, they will say that, oh, because I'm the parent, I should be right all the time. So sometimes that's also a bit tricky. So, but it really depends on the parenting style. Yeah. So, if like the viewers, they would like to find out more about your upcoming programs in forest school, maybe after the COVID situation, right? Maybe you can share a bit about what are some of the programs that you guys are like currently having now in forest school.
Okay. So a bit about forest schools and what we do, as well as the programs that is upcoming after the COVID-19. So program wise, we will be actually announcing our contingency for the circuit breaker extension to 1st June. So we will have a contingency plans in place to meet with different scenarios, starting from an early release from circuit breaker to a extended even later release from circuit breaker. So we have all the different scenario plans out together with the program. So in the case where COVID-19 ends, the circuit breaker extension ends, and we are able to start the forest school program, The regular program will be restarted as usual. We'll be back to the forest with our kids weekly. On top of that, we will have our workshops as well as our training. It will all be launched on the website in the schedule. Expect to have double the amount of trainings and workshops in the second half of the year once the COVID-19 situation has cooled off. As we feel there is probably a need right now for more people to actually step outdoor at a very even at a medical level, because everybody kind of need the sunlight and the wind as well now. So we're extending that out further. So we have more programs. So some of the programs for adults per se, we do have for parents training every quarterly. So not right now you can expect every 3 months we have 2 parents training. That will be coming up, and parents can come join us. We will be guiding you about how to bring your children outdoors, but not get too controlling, but yet still watching over safety. So that will be shared during the workshops for parent training. We will also have for teachers, for educators, or for people who are interested to lead forest school program as well. We have the forest school training workshops as well. Same thing, it used to happen every month we'll have one. But in the second half of the year, we will probably double it up. So every month we'll probably have 2. And so you can check it out as well. On top of that, we have our popular family walks, monthly family walks that will probably happen twice a month, right? After the COVID-19 situation as well. So these are just some of the ad hoc programs. Our regular weekly classes, we expect to have a jump in demand. So there may be potential of more classes being opened up on weekends for children as well. So you can check that out. But we will unfortunately have to announce tomorrow, and since I'm here, and I mean not many people are here anyway, I can just share that we will be cancelling our summer holiday programs with regards to the changes in the holiday schedule right now. So I think it makes more sense to cancel the holiday program and kind of wait it out. So unfortunately, we cannot invite all the kids back for the summer holiday camps. But they're welcome to join us during our weekly sessions. And hopefully by the end of the year, it will not the things will cool off and we can still have our winter holiday camps. And so, yeah, that will be more or less the lineup for us in terms of forest school programs. In terms of the forest school pedagogy will stay, it will not change as much. And I think with the COVID-19 situation, there is now even a stronger agenda, motivation, and purpose for myself, for all of you viewers, as well as our kids and parents. So I think forest will be moving ahead, will be bigger, and we hope to be able to help grow more forest school around Singapore. Yeah.
Yeah, all the best to that the goal that we're hoping to achieve and the vision for forest school. Right, we will always be there to support.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So thank you very much, viewers, for tuning in for this evening.
Thank you.
And for Darren for being my guest for the last April session for this Friday night, going to be live. Okay. So for any questions, alright, do not you still post at the comments below of the box. Okay. And we will still be able to comment accordingly but after this live. Alright. So
Okay.
yeah, keep a lookout on our upcoming live that we'll be having for the month of May. Right? So thank you very much, Darren. Do you have anything else to add? No? No?
Thank you.
Okay. Can. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Signing off.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.